Hey guys, welcome to today's stream. I'm good and I hope everyone else is good. Now I'm going to make a possible prediction here that you can hear my microwave going off, and we have a bit of a problem, and that is the power supply into my home is being rather erratic, shall we say. So basically what we've got is my microwave is not heating anything, and there's a possibility my computer might die. But anyway, we'll not worry about that too much. What we'll do is we'll press play and we shall find out if our I'm going to have to go and switch off the microwave. Back in a second. Okay, so I still have a cup of cold milk in the microwave because the power dies. So we got our MPC working last night, and what we want to do is, right, that's good. Right, one can see our thing going down. There's our guy working away. And what we want to do is load up our pawn. And find out how we basically kill our player. Now we already have something for that, but we're going to have to check it anyway. Right, so there's our temp core update. We really want to get to our buttons. We have got a button that's going to kill her, but I can't remember which one it is. We don't use a real-time clock. We use the day-night cycle thing. Apparently I'm not. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. So, we haven't got a die. Right, what we do have, by the way, screen Apple, is we have the day-night cycle. Right, and this runs at a certain time. which is linked to our clock. Right? So it isn't a real clock because you'll never get something like that in a first person kind of story survival game because it doesn't make any it really doesn't make any sense from in a game environment, right? We simulate the time, right? So for example, if I press play, I can explain it. Right, that this is midday, this is midnight, so it's obviously going to tick faster, right? But, right, let's have a look at our pawn, right? Alright, so we're doing that, spawned. We're doing that, which is fine. Then this is the part where we're basically switching on the HUD. Right. Call update stats. And then we're doing update main stats once per 60 divided by whatever this value is here, and it should not be easy sky. Well, it should be easy sky. Well, the pawn is controlling the player, right? So it's always going to be the most the blueprint with the most logic in it. So this easy sky right, okay, we'll leave it at easy sky. Then we'll go to update main stats. Right. So call on update stats. Right, what I'm going to do is going to add a breakpoint and find out where this is going. It is an interface call. Interesting. Right, best way to do this is to run it. Right, so we're just waiting on it hitting this on update stats. There we go. Right, and if we step into this, okay. So that's an event dispatcher. Okay. Which is fine. That's all good. But what we want to do is put something in here. Right? And we really want to check some of these values. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create another function, right? Right, and we'll say check stats so this is, I'm trying to think of a way to call this, right? This is going to be a check the stats to find out if we are adversely affected, right? I'm trying to think of a good way. We check adverse condition. Right? So this would be like main, get main stats, right? We'd break this out. And we'd say is less than or equal to 0. Right. So we've got our main stats here, right? But we need basically I'm going to add one. Right? Is dead. Right, now what we're going to do with this is basically we're going to get get our anim instance. Wait a minute. We should have our animation instance here. Right? Yeah, the health goes down. The lights are flickering away like mad here, guys, so if I suddenly disappear, you'll know what's happened. Right, so we're going to branch this. We'll probably end up putting this into some kind of a sequence, right? Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this less than 90 so that you can actually see it happening, right? But what we're going to have to actually do here is actually set a lot of stuff. Like, we're going to have to disable input and stuff like that. Now, I did do this before. I should really look for it. There's a widget that I created for this that was in the test. I definitely remember doing it, right? So you can see here that the health will go down, right? This is the health here, or food. This is thirst. This is your energy, right? Now, the interesting thing is I didn't call that. We were supposed to call it in here, right? So, hunger is a part of health. There's also thirst and there's also energy that are all kind of part of health, right? No, you can die. You don't take damage. You either shoot them or you die, right? There is no melee combat, right? Because basically it doesn't make sense to have melee combat at that time. Right? Because either the wildlife is too big and it's going to kill you, or basically you stay away from them. Right? Now, there are ways to get away by using fire, etc., but fundamentally everything in this game, either you can kill it or you have to run away from it, or not necessarily run away from it but stay away from it. Okay? But you'll see the hunger go down. Right, now what I was going to do was find a particular widget, hopefully. Right, and my brain's not working today, along with the microwave. Right, there's W death. Right, so if I go back to our pawn, find results, and I just type in death, this is it here. So we basically just call this player dead, right? So that makes life a lot easier. I knew I'd done this. Right, so if we check adverse conditions, we don't need to do this. We just need to call player dead. Right. So we can just leave this for a minute. You'll see the health gradually going down here. Sorry, hunger. Right, I think we'll lose 2% per time unit. Or it might be 1. Not 100% sure on that one. Yeah, it's 1. That's temperature. Oh, it's 2. No, we won't be doing that, Screen Apple. And there you go. So we can kill her. And what we can do is muck that up by hitting Control W. Right. So basically, we can do that, or that, and that. And then we can say that, or that, or that. That can go in there. So if any of them hit 0, she dies. Right, so we want to speed, actually, you know what? We'll speed this up a bit. Right. It's not that one. It's not that one. Right, it was main attributes, wasn't it? We're probably better leaving it at that just now. But what we will do is this part here, we can speed it up a bit. I'm interested to know what that number actually is. What I mean by that is I'm interested to know what this number is here. Right? That's easy sky, right? And the time counter is 2.7. I don't know what that actually means, but we'd need to have a look at that. So it's going to update every 10 seconds. It's not really fast enough, is it? We'll make this 15. Now the thing here we can do is that, right, okay, we know you're going to do that. Disable, run. You can see that our hunger's going down already. along with other stuff, right? We're going to eat that. Right, we had a breakpoint in here for some reason. Run that. Now, our hunger is way up, but she still dies, and that's because our thirst and her energy has went down to 0, right? So that's all working nicely. And back to here. Those should be 0. I don't think they had anti-gravity plates in the 5th and 6th century. I don't think they have them now, to be honest. And it's not really a science fiction setting. So I'm going to say a no on that one. Right, so my idea here, well, actually, you know what? What we should really do, I've went too far. Is we should really start putting NPCs and stuff in, right? But my issue here is our navigation map. Right now, I'm not 100% sure if our navigation map should go over there, but let's do a certain something instead, right? We're going to go blueprints. Chair. We've got spearfishing, right? Now the question is, do we have anywhere to do some spearfishing? And I'm going to say here, right? Right. And spearfishing. Going to say worker 1. Right, now to make this easier, what we're going to do is we're going to drop this dude right there, right? We're going to set him there. And that's that. But the issue here is, I don't think you can get to there. Right, so right, it honestly looks to me I'll tell you what, we'll put him over here. Right, but what we'll have them do right, we'll not make him a spear fisherman dude. Right, and we'll move this guy right, okay. We need the this one. Right. Making a mess of this. So so we'll have him doing that. And he can live over in the village. Somewhere. Like right there. Right, and what we'll do play from there and follow him and see if he goes to the right player. Where'd he go? Right. This doesn't seem very... It's a clear. I'm just wondering if our nav mesh is big enough. If I press P, the question is, can he get to there? Right, the one thing I do want to know is, where is that? If we check the coordinates, 20174, right? Let's play again. Darn it. Goofed up there. Alright, what we need to do okay, whatever. Play for there. Now, do you think our character is going to make it? He is on his way. Let's follow him. Let's hope we don't die. Oh no! does affect navigation. And it says he can step up on it, so our NPC is getting stuck on terrain that's basically a bit too high of a step. So what we need to do is our NPC, we need to get his movement and we need to get his like height, the height he can step up. Like this one here, max step height. So let's say that's let's just stick it to 90. And if we move him right, closer than what he was, right, and play for here, right, we should be able to follow him. He's away again. See, he keeps getting stuck. So you kinda can't step up on this. I'm just wondering if right, let's put him down. Let's play from here. Right, where is he? Come on, down you come. Here he comes. He's got a long way to walk for his job, hasn't he? Ooh, what's all this? Oh, we're at the big ship now, aren't we? Yeah. Off he goes. They're for flavour, but you can interact with them. Right, so you can talk and they will. So basically there's flavour text, but it's going to be linked to what their job is and what they're doing. Right, but that's just a idea of how it's working there. Right, so he made it. He made it to his job, and this is this. I'm sure this is a house. So I'll need to open up the other version and find out what this house is. Right, and then put it back in. So we'll do that after we take a little break. So I'm going to go and grab a cigarette. Check out the links in the description, all that jazz, and I shall be back in a minute or two. And if you guys want to help out, open another browser window and play one of my older videos and have it on mute. That'll help out a lot. So I shall be back in a minute. Okay guys, we're back. I'm just waiting on our coffee heating up on the stove because we can't use the microwave because there's something wrong with our electricity. But what I was going to thinking of doing was, if we run, the run affects our energy directly, right? So basically, right, if we run, then this goes down. Louder than loud. Is there a difference between making your own assets for the game and how different it is compared with download assets from Megascans and the Epic Games? It depends what the asset is. If it's just a mesh, like a static mesh, then no, they'll be the same, right? It just depends on your texture and yes, it depends. The thing you've got to remember is assets, especially like these, the system ones, right? The one that says RPG system, you know, complete. Well, these things are never complete, right? And they never do things. They can only do things in a certain way, right? Basically the way that they're coded, okay? With that in mind, the assets that you get, Rusgar, yeah, you were here yesterday, I believe. So assets never really do exactly what you want them to do. So, for example, right, we started off this project and it was all this TP SAT, right, which has got all of these stuff in it, right? And gradually I removed it and replaced it with our own stuff, right? So you'll find that to varying degrees depending on what it is you want, right? Now, some of them can be well written, some of them can be not so well written. But a lot of the time, if you look at them, you'll need a basic understanding of Unreal Engine, but you can find learning opportunities from them as well, right? But never get a asset thinking that you'll just be able to put it in and that'll be it, right? It just never works like that. Not so much for static meshes, stuff like that usually is okay. Even then, you might find that the pivot points are in the wrong place, stuff like that. So yeah, if you get assets, expect to change them to some degree. If you don't need to, then that's a bonus, but I would never look at an asset and think I'm just going to put it in my game, it's going to work, right? I'm going to need to change absolutely nothing, it's going to just work and it's going to be great. because that just isn't how it works. Which reminds me, we've got new assets for the month, right? Because it was the first Tuesday on Tuesday, and I forgot all about it until last night actually. But you'll notice that if you come down free for the month, you'll have like this one, got endless random procedural world. You've got this isometric world, underwater world, Mediterranean rustic interior, and big star station lumen, right? So get onto the marketplace and get them added to your stuff. So let's have a little look. Hi Chippy, Cat Eats Chips. Right, so we've got this one here, right, which is like an endless runner type setup, but on a level thing. Right. Now you could use, actually, you know what? You could use this in tandem with the endless runner one, so that it builds out your world, even though you've got an endless runner. So, going by my first initial thoughts on it, that's possibly how I would use it. I would use it as an endless runner add-on that basically fills in the world of the endless runner. Okay? So there's that one. Then there's this one which looks quite nice, although again, you know, these just seem to be, well, I don't know what type of code is involved in these, right, or if it's just basically static meshes, right? So a few things there, not an awful lot. But yeah, that looks okay as well. And then you've got the very underwater world, I suppose, if you're making Subnautica or something like that. This was come in handy. Alright. Looks okay, but very specific. But if that's what game you're doing, then that's fine. Then again, something very specific, Mediterranean rustic interior. Again, don't know why you would use this, but see, the likes of this, yes, the free things run out at the end of the month, so all you need to do is add them to your checkout and then check out, right? Just the first Tuesday of the month, just get everything added and check out, because you never know when you're going to need something, and they're free, right? So just do that. Now, with this one here, I can't think of a specific use for it, But what I would do is use specific things in it. If I was like having a modern game and I needed some like furnishings, right? I would consider some of these, but not as a pack. And the last one is this one, which looks quite good as well. Again, if you're making something like no, they're free. If you add them to your checkout, you add them to your account, they're always available to you, right? If you don't add them, then you're going to have to pay for them after that, right? But as long as you add them to your checkout, you're done. You can use them anytime. Right, so you've got a space station thing. This might be useful to you, Sunbuster. I don't know if this is... Oh, I think this might just be interiors, which might not be so useful to you. I mean, you could use some of it as exteriors, I suppose. Right, so if you're doing like a spacey shooter or a spacey horror, like Deep Space or whatever, I think it's called Deep Space, I can't remember. Never had that problem, louder than loud. You maybe want to uninstall and reinstall Unreal Engine or something. Right, so you might, if you're making a horror game, you see, your problem with the Megascan stuff is it's huge, right? Now, it's all well and good if you're making a big, huge game that's... See, the problem is, right, that once you go in a Megascan's direction, then everything else is either going to have to be of the same quality, or it's going to stick out like a sore thumb, right? So, although having really fantastically great Megascans textures and stuff, it can also act as a thorn in your side, because, as I said, as soon as you go for realistic, very high big textures, then it starts causing other problems. Number one is the fact that you're going to have to watch your loading times, because if it's all Megascans, it's going to be criminal. Well, yes and no. What I mean by that is, you go Megascans, right? If you do something that's way off that quality, then it's going to stick out like a sore thumb against the Megascan stuff. Right? So, and then, and you're going to have to go for realism as well. Which can be limiting in what you do. Right, so what I was going to do here was, if you're shifting and running, I wanted to affect the energy bar. Right? Now, the interesting thing is I don't bother about features of, if it makes your job easier, good, right? If it brings it, you know, it all sounds great, but are you going to use it? It seems to me a lot of these features, right, indie developers will be going off their nut about it, going, oh yeah, this is fantastic, blah de blah de blah, but they're probably never going to make a game that actually makes use of it, right? The whole point of Nanite and Lumen and stuff, when you look at what it actually does, it's for big developers. Right, it assumes you're going to have masses and masses and masses of really high quality textures, right, that it can work with. But that's not what an indie developer is going to do, right? Because they don't have the resources to make a huge world and make loads and loads and loads of high quality textures. That's just not something that's going to happen. So to me, it doesn't really affect anything. The only feature I'm worried about is the fact that if it does it better than it did before, right, with what I'm working on. That's the only feature I'm looking for. Well, don't know about that. Yeah, I would presume that is correct, Sunbuster. But the one problem we've got at the moment is that Unreal Engine 5 does not do footsteps because it doesn't do tessellation, so there's a huge downside, right? And they were all going, oh, just use Nanite, but Nanite can't do it. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, what I wanted to do is go back to our pawn, right? And I want to know on the inputs, we've got an input action sprint. No, it doesn't work, Sunbuster. It doesn't work. That's the problem. Right, I'm just wondering here, right, if this is what I think it is. No, it doesn't work. There's a lot of issues with it that it's just not. Trust me, I've had to do a lot of research on this. It doesn't work, right? It's convoluted and it has a lot of issues, right? Okay. So basically if we hit the shift, this is the shift button, okay? Right, so we need this. Yeah, a lot of people are complaining about it, put it that way. And they want, basically, they're saying put tessellation back in. I don't think they will, but I think they'll come up with, there'll be a solution, put it that way. Right, so we want to find out, so here you go, right, this is back to, I think it was, what was his name? Louder than loud. Right, this is what I mean, right? This pawn comes from TP sat, right? So, we're going to have to do this. I didn't write this code, right? So, we're going to have to find out what it does. Right, this is it here. Right now, I don't even know what. Right, okay, whatever. Right, this interpolate speed thing, we could use it to remove energy. But we actually can't. Right? We're going to have to use something else, right? And it was in our, right, it was in our input action, right? We've got is running, okay? So, in theory, we're going to have to do something in here. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is get is running. Right, so if we're running while we're moving forward or moving back, right, which basically means we're holding down the shift button, right? Now I'll show you this once in fact I'll show you it now. Right, we'll do branch. Now we're going to have to do this on all of our buttons, right? Because whether you're running forward, running backward, or running sideways, it's all running, right? So if we do print string, right, we can basically say I'm running, okay, and then it'll clear up if we stop running, okay. So you'll notice when I do this, it'll do nothing while I'm walking, but it should say I'm running when I'm running, right? So I'm not running. Did I put a breakpoint in there? Obviously I did. That was to check it, wasn't it? Right, so if I'm running, I'm not running, I'm running, I'm not running, okay? So what we're going to have to do is we are going to go back to this part here, right? Now there's a few ways we could do this here. Okay, we could have like energy used, right? So basically we could say something like, well, let's add a function, right? Use energy, right? And for this, we're going to say main attributes. I'm going to break that. And we're going to say energy. Then we're going to subtract. Right, I'm going to click on that and hide unconnected pins. And we're going to say 0.1. Right, and then we're going to set element. No, we're not. We're going to set member. And energy. And once I how to figure out how to use a mouse, then we're going to set main attributes. To there. Okay. We're going to compile that. Right, now what we're going to do here is we're going to remove that. Right, you can't die of no energy. Right, that's what I've decided. Arbitrarily decided that we aren't going to die from having no energy. We're going to die of thirst and we're going to die of hunger. Okay? Now, we have got one other thing that we want to work on. Right, let's update main attributes. Okay. We're not going to do this one. Okay. And that. Interesting. Right. So we're going to update these main attributes, and what we're actually going to have to do after this is get is get this energy and call update energy. Right? Now this is going to be interesting when we do this to start with, because it's going to be mental, right? Going to say is it's called use energy. Branch on that. Then we set timer by function name. And that's use energy. 0.1 open. And I think I'm going to have to turn off the stream. I think we're going to have to turn off all the power. Fin.
Sí, corta porque
Okay.
van a reparar afuera.
Necesito. Okay, so we'll have to end here. I'll be back later. Bye bye for now, folks.